Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another episode of Conqueror's Blade, where today we are going to be taking a look at Cavalry. Are they any good? Is it worth the time going down this sort of tech tree? Where do they fit into battles? So first things first, let's just have a quick look at the tech tree, probably the easiest thing to start with. So I've just gone straight down the middle, down the Iron Cap Scout Cavalry, because I kind of like the look of the Lance Cavalry, which is where this ultimately leads to. I'm not counting in this sort of video the mounted archers, because it's sort of a mini dead-end tech tree. It's a bit strange. I don't really get it. It doesn't really lead anywhere, so we're not really counting them. Of course, there's the Astarian, more Western version, leading to the Cataphracts and the Winged Hussars, but for whatever reason, I just picked this mostly because I'm in Marianne, so it kind of makes sense. So how do the cavalry work, and what are they like? So they tend to be smaller unit sizes. For a start, this has 18 units in my unit of cavalry. They have reasonable damage potential, they have reasonable armor penetration, and they have pretty solid amount of health, but they are very big models, so they're very vulnerable to things like archers and ranged when they kind of get caught out in the open and just sort of sit there. But once they get close to an enemy unit of archers, that's when they really come in, because then they can cut them down really quite quickly. And of course, if you sort of direct them properly, they can close that gap to the enemy archers really quickly as well. And that's kind of where they seem to work well. So I'm going to break this video down into two sort of areas, or attempt to. I kind of want to look at cavalry as an open world unit and cavalry as a unit in matchmaking. So what I mean by that is taking cavalry out into the open world opens up quite a few possibilities that you don't get with infantry. And we'll kind of look at that just very shortly, and that's kind of going to look at first what they like as using them as a bandit unit for hunting down enemies, and then using them in those more 1v1 type fights you get in the open world, and see kind of how they perform in that situation. And then we're going to go over and have a look at how they perform in field battles, because I think it's safe to assume that cavalry don't really work very well in siege battles. You know, they need the larger open spaces to be able to maneuver, to be able to make use of their speed. If you're going to start sticking them on walls and down narrow streets, they really don't tend to work very well, and they're just going to get caught and killed pretty quickly. So yeah, if you're really big into siege battles, I think cavalry probably aren't for you. Field battles, I think there's possibly some potential there, but we'll kind of figure that out as we get going. So anyway, let's just dive straight into the open world and kind of have a look at what are the benefits of cavalry overtaking an infantry-only force. So where I feel cavalry really come in on into sort of their own niche is in the open world. So if we take an ordinary infantry unit, say this spear militia, and I wanted to take that into the open world, you'll see it gives me marching speed of 2.6. Sort of a normal speed. But if we get rid of that and replace that with only cavalry, then that takes my marching speed to 4. And that is significantly almost twice as fast as anyone else on the map. And if they are carrying a wagon with them with any supplies in it, then it is going to be twice as fast. Now, you can only take cavalry. If I then were to take that same unit of spear militia and the cavalry, go back down to 2.6, because it's always going to be your slowest unit, which determines your movement speed on the open map. But yeah, that cavalry then gives you a really fast movement speed, and this is where you're going to come into your own, because you then have the option to attack and to move around the open world so much quicker and target enemy players. So that's what we're going to do now, and kind of see how it works. So we are out in the open world with our cavalry, and we are hunting down an enemy player, and you can see how quickly we are gaining on him. Whether he's going to go for the refuge of this city, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if we can sort of overhaul him in that amount of time. Probably not. He's going to make a run for it. Maybe I'll turn away. Okay, we're going for a fight, and it's going to be pinned down into a battle. Okay, so we're into a battle against an enemy player, so we'll kind of see how our cavalry fare in a 1v1 situation. Because, of course, with the ability of chasing down enemy players, as I said, all you can take is the cavalry. So you then, when you get here, they have to actually be decent enough to win the fight. Otherwise, it's kind of a bit pointless, isn't it? So let's kind of see how this goes and see if we can actually get a victory. Also got to be careful that it's possible that other players may join in, so we may end up turning it into a bit more of a battle against me, particularly if he has any nearby allied units who wish to assist. So we're loading in. Kind of exciting though. I do love the PvP ones, even if they don't always go very well for me. So we're joining the battle. So we'll wait for the other player, see if he is ready. We are very slightly higher level than him by a couple of levels, I think. But obviously he's going to have some units with him, some infantry units, hopefully not pikemen. Ideally, maybe some sort of spearmen, maybe because they don't seem to be super effective. I mean, a dream would be if he brought a unit of archers, but not many people are going to be foolish enough to bring archers with them to this sort of battle. So we're just going to go straight for it. Hard and fast. There's nothing we can do other than just to attack. It'd be nicer once these guys are higher level, they obviously get better and better. Oh, he has brought archers. That was a brave move. So, this is going to suit us quite nicely. We should be able to cut these guys down fairly effectively. Ow, we get caught up by him a little bit here. But our cavalry should be able to get stuck in this situation if I don't keep getting knocked back forever. And there we go, where we can fight him a little bit more hero to hero. Most of his unit is actually already dead. He can't really run away, you see, because even with the situation as it is, he's not got that much opportunity. I think we're getting a little bit of lag here in the actual server by the looks of things. It's been kind of a problem for quite a few days now. And obviously it's harder for him to run away because my cavalry, of course, has a reasonable chance of being able to catch him up. If I can actually hit anything, which I can't. Back on my horse. We could try and, of course, just to capture the point. Good job, our cavalry are getting some hits on him. He's not going to be able to have long enough to recharge his point at this point. Oh, look at those hits, our cavalry. God, good job, cavalry. And that's where they come into their own, and that is him dead. So let's just go back to his point, capture him, and then let's see if we get anything. Probably not, but a little bit of fun nonetheless. So, in open world, I think cavalry works really well because it gives you that opportunity to hunt down enemy units in a way that normal infantry doesn't, because you're the same speed as everyone else if you just bring infantry with you. Cavalry gives you that speed advantage, and in a 1v1 situation, I think they work pretty well. It was a bit of an exceptional case there because he brought archers, which in a 1v1 are probably the worst unit you can bring normally, particularly against cavalry, and so obviously we cut them down quite effectively. But even against infantry units, I find the cavalry be pretty darn effective in this sort of situation because they just sort of swarm around, particularly if you're going to throw yourself into that fight quite aggressively as well. And the AI just can't seem to target the fact that there's so many cavalry all around them rather than just in front of them. And I find it tends to be pretty effective, particularly when these guys get to a slightly higher level and they're going to get abilities like a charge and stuff, which is going to be effective as well. So there's lots of things that I think are going to come together to make cavalry quite effective in the open world. And of course, you could bring multiple units with you. So there we go. Easy victory for us. A little bit of lag through that fight, which was a shame, but we just having a few server issues. Nothing really for us to take by the looks of it, but still, it was a good fight, and we'll continue back into the open world. So yeah, I think that's where cavalry excels. We'll go over now and have a bit of a look at how they do in matched fights. Are they very good in field battles? I think we can rule them out as being anything but useless in siege battles. The narrow streets and walls are really not the cavalry's natural habitat. So I think we'll perhaps have a look at some field battles, see if there's anything sort of useful there and see how we get on. So I shall see you guys all in the next battle. So we're in our field battle. I'm halfway through, having a reasonable game so far, 1 for 80. But just about to respawn, and I'm going to take out my cavalry. Quite an open map. So I think cavalry tend to work quite well in this sort of situation. Well, at least hopefully. We'll kind of see how it actually pans out. So let's pop on with the cavalry. And we'll go for the full strength horse. And let's go and see what we can find. Ideally, I'd love to find something like a unit of archers. I just noticed that there's an enemy over here capturing down on point C, so I may go and head over this way, see if we can maybe prevent its capture, or at least sort of assist in its defence. If I go the right way, that is. So let's keep our cavalry coming over. This is one of the nicest things I've found about the cavalry, is just the fact that they keep up. You arrive at the situation and your troops are there in a way that it just doesn't occur with infantry. You know, you end up charging off with your horse, arrive, and then suddenly there's 3 enemy heroes and a spearman unit, and your guys are still a minute behind you, slowly walking their way up. So that's pretty nice. Yeah. So let's see what we can find. I mean, it would be lovely if it was ranged. Oh, it is. I mean, we'll be able to kill these. How well the enemy heroes are going to be able to deal with my cavalry, I'm not sure. You can see, pretty effective. Even with him getting on there. I'm trying to run away from me now. Let's go on foot for this. Come on. Don't want to let you escape. Come on, you swine. There we go. Got him, got him, got him. Our cavalry is taking a lot of losses now because they're getting really caught in. Yeah, they're just absolutely caught there in too many enemy units. Is anyone left alive? Come on, let's get out what we can. Has anyone got out alive? 1, 2. Not so good. We got down that enemy hero pretty effectively, but then once you start getting to the heavier enemy infantry units turning up, that's when their effectiveness is really not so great. As in this sort of situation, but really we've got no choice because we need to prevent the capture here, so we're going to have to just go in anyway and rely just on the cavalry just as a blocking force, just to absorb the bit of the damage. Not really doing what they exactly intended for, because ideally I would love to get them much more sort of pinned down on enemy archer units where you can just really close on those enemy archers dead quick and then just put your damage to work. I get this enemy pesky spearman down who's causing me trouble. There we go, he's dead. Good. Well, we prevented the capture, but we did lose our entire cavalry unit. But that's not exactly ideally what we want. But we should try that again in another field battle and see if we get on a little bit better next time. So, battle 2, and we're just spawning in with our cavalry. Things are not going quite so well on this one, and I don't think this is going to be a particularly favourable map. There's a lot of raised areas, which I don't think is really going to fit in that well with the cavalry's kind of abilities, which is going to be much more focused towards the open ground. But we shall see. I'm going to head down this way currently towards point A, see if we can catch anyone in the open. Looks like we're getting the capture there anyway, so I think that's going to be okay. Looks like we're going to lose point C looking at the minimap over there. So it would be good to perhaps go and try and assist over there and keep our unit with us. They do have a tendency to spread out slightly. So we've got point A. It's a really close match this is for whether we're going to win or not. I'm going to slowly head round towards point C, I think, to see if we can maybe help stop the capture there. Just keeping an eye on if anyone's going to come off this central platform. I don't really want to go in there. I think if I go in that central platform, it's just going to be a one-way ticket to getting cut to pieces. There are some archers here. I'm not going to really make it to them in time, though. No, I even missed my sword gun. And the cavalry are now falling quite a bit behind. Come on, keep up. There's some spear militia up here, and we kind of outnumbered them, so I think I'm probably going to push here and go for this one. Let's see what, if anything, our cavalry can do. They are quite good in this sort of situation. When they outnumber the enemy, they are got quite good health, and they've got a reasonable attack, so they do get a good bit of damage in. Okay, nice, good job. Well, we helped protect point C. All our cavalry units are still alive. Got a few kills in there. Not a great deal, like an extra 6 or 7. So let's continue moving back out. We could perhaps head round back towards point A, see if we see anything. And capture this point while we're here. Since the points are so close, a little quick capture we get here, just take 20 points off their total score. So kind of worth doing, I think. But we could really do with capturing point A kind of quickly. Capture, 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 capture. Okay, and let's push onwards. So they've got some troops going across the bridge. Enemy are about to win, I know. Can't do anything about that, though. So I can't get to them, obviously, under the bridge. If you take the cavalry on to some such a narrow point like that, they really just can barely function at all. And they're really getting caught up in the terrain there. Looks like we've got an enemy unit here. What's it going to be? The pikes probably couldn't pick much worse, to be honest, to attack as cavalry, so... because pikes are very effective against cavalry. Looks like we're capturing point B, though. I don't really want to go on here, though, if I could have helped it. If we can maybe find someone where we're just sufficiently outnumbered, or maybe rear charge these spearmen if we can. Come on, guys, stay in formation. They're going back in to try and recapture point B. I think we're going to go for these spears. That's a bit bold. There's quite a few enemy heroes here already. Some of whom are quite high level, 57. I can't even get back. Yeah, and now the cavalry have got themselves in a bad situation. That was definitely an error. I knew I shouldn't have. Didn't want to come up on that platform. Yeah, I did it anyway. And that's where I think cavalry fall down in these sort of field battles type things. Because, you know, you're kind of limited. What do? You go into a situation like that to try and get capture where there's a big fight breaking out. And you can't really contribute because, of course, you know, you can't really be very effective on there. Yes, it's great when you can find like a group of enemy archers in the open. They work really well. They cut them down gloriously. But then so do most units, to be honest. You know, if you can get them in the open. So is that really a benefit? I kind of feel not. And I think you spend too long trying to look for those opportunities than you actually gain. So I think for matched battles, Cavalry can be okay, but I don't think they're anything special, and I don't think they're better than ordinary units, to be honest.